What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You know, with all the reports you're seeing about the Lakers and all the issues and all the trading, all the off-season, possible acquisitions and, the Kyrie Irving thing. And then you heard about Kevin Durant. Now it's Donovan Mitchell. And they just got Patrick Beverley. And, they traded THT also, with all these things. It just seems like the Lakers just have so much confusion. And not only that, with all these things that have transpired and occurred, even in this off season and all the talks and speculation, honestly, there's a very good possible chance the Lakers might be the same team they were last year. They might be just as bad as they were last year. They might not be much better. With all the talk and all the possible speculations and everything being said, they still might be the same team they were last year. They might be, instead of being 15 games on the 500, they might be 5 games on the 500. But they're still not going to be much better, because even if they're 5 games on the 500, hypothetically, at the end of this upcoming season, that's still a failed season because they didn't win a championship. This team is based off of championship or bust. And that's pretty much it. Every Lakers team is personified the same way. So it's no need to be looked at any other way. It's no need to be looked at in any other form or fashion. That's just the way it is when it comes with wearing that purple and gold. That's the notion when you wear that jersey. So if that's the notion and it's always been that, and they've got 17 championships, then that tells you one thing. Whatever that this team is putting together right now isn't good enough unless it's championship bound or nothing. And that's pretty much the only way it needs to be looked at, because when you think about that in its entirety, that's the only way this team is really actually revered. And it doesn't matter what Lakers team you look at, they're always revered as being a championship team or bust, because they always usually have the type of talent that other teams don't have the opportunity to get. And with this team they have now, they got 3 top 75 players, and they found a way to be 15 games on the 500 last year. I don't care whether they had injuries or not. That's still a very asinine type season. And honestly, when you look at it, it makes it worse that they have 3 top 75 players rather than if they only had 1 top 75 player and a bunch of role players. Then it would look a lot different, and the outcome of the season would look a lot different, or maybe it would look the same. Or maybe it would look even better. Who knows? Because maybe they have more control of the team and everybody would be more of a fit. Because as I say, chemistry and fitting is 2 things that are huge when it comes to, trying to build a successful business, a team, sports team, whatever it may be. Consistency, chemistry, and all that, it all goes hand in hand. So my point is, when I look at the Lakers, I look at a team that has potential once again this season to play a lot better than what they did last season. But I just wouldn't be surprised, and I don't think you should be surprised either, if they're not that much better of a team than where they were last year. Honestly, only thing they added was Patrick Beverley. They didn't really add any pieces that can make or break or change the outcome of their season. They got a little bit younger, Lonnie Walker and a few other pieces here and there, but those are just guys. Those are not they're not the type guys that can help you win championships, or at least I'll say this: the game that I've seen on Lonnie Walker and a couple others that they acquired, I haven't seen game-changing type plays from those type players, or a player like him, or a few other players they might have acquired, and definitely not Patrick Beverley. I mean, Patrick Beverley's good, but I don't know if, like I said, with his presence, you are liable to be more of a playoff team, possibly, or a play-in tournament team, I should say, but championship wise, that doesn't mean Patrick Beverley's not going to make that much of a difference with the Lakers. Now, like I said, I will say this: if the Lakers can stay healthy, meaning Anthony Davis, who should be the number 1 guy on the team right now, even though he isn't, along with LeBron James, and if they, if Russ is going to stay on the team and not, get walked out the building or leave the team or just get traded, then then there might be something there in regards to that. And as I said before, don't rule out the fact that the Lakers still might utilize this Patrick Beverley situation. They might utilize that for their own good and use him as a package deal to ship off with Russ somewhere in a trade deal so they can get what they want, rather than have Russell Westbrook on the roster, who's definitely unhappy now, probably the fact that they acquired Patrick Beverley, and to have a Patrick Beverley on your roster who doesn't really make a difference in regards to winning championships or getting anywhere. Because if he did, then, well, the Clippers would have probably made a finals by now. He's been on there for several years and they didn't go anywhere with him, with Kawhi Leonard, without Kawhi Leonard. He doesn't make that much of a difference to me. Somewhat of a difference. He can make differences, but not that much of a difference. So it's levels to it. So my thing is, don't be surprised if they find a way to ship him out along with, Westbrook and everything. And don't be surprised the reason why they got reason why they got Patrick Beverley in exchange to get rid of THT was open up, more, space and cap space possibly, or you never know. Like I said, my main thing is get Patrick Beverley because he is a good added piece that you can add in regards to a trade. Now, of course, Brooklyn Nets is the team that is talked about the most and linked with the Lakers. Now Utah is, of course, but the Brooklyn Nets were first, and the Brooklyn Nets definitely might want to exercise their options in getting more pieces back in return before they let go of one of their players or let go of anybody off of their roster. And if that's the case, then like I said, Patrick Beverley will be a good additional piece to a package deal that you could send off along with maybe a pick along with Russell Westbrook. I think a lot of teams will take that. So if that's the case, then that could be a goal, or that can be the reason why Patrick Beverley was acquired, even though a lot of people might not be speaking on that. So as Lakers fans, don't be surprised what happens. Don't be surprised the outcome of anything like that, because it definitely could be one of those situations where it's looked at on that fashion. You never know. So from what I see, this could be a crazy situation for the Lakers, because like I said, if they keep Russell Westbrook, they're probably not going to win a championship, because Russ is not championship level material to me. He can play on a championship team, but he has to have all the right pieces around him and another dominant superstar in order for that to happen. And LeBron just isn't dominant enough as he used to be in 2011, 2012, with like the Miami Heat and the Cleveland, Cavaliers back then. He's not that dominant anymore. So that's the only way you can win a championship, Russ, if you have somebody that dominant or that great. And Anthony Davis can potentially be that, but of course he stays hurt too much to be that. So don't be surprised the Lakers don't play that much better than last season with all this talk and all this rift and all this other stuff going on, because they haven't really made any substantial moves that can actually make them, so much of a better team. They got a few good pieces in there, but I don't think the pieces they have is going to make up for all their defensive issues. And like I said, with 3 of their top 75 players not being in tune with one another, that makes all the world difference right there, because it starts at the top. So, like I said, don't be surprised this team is not as good as advertised, or some are advertising possibly this season, in which the media is definitely going to do that more and more. I think the Lakers will be they'll have a better record than what they had last year, but will the outcome be any different? Will they make the play-in tournament? Because like I said, we got some other teams out there with Zion coming back on the Pelicans and a few other teams, Jamal Murray coming back with the, Nuggets, things like that. So it's like there might not be no room for the Lakers to make the playoffs if they don't, find a way to have a winning season, or at least be 10 games over 500 instead of 10, 15 games under 500. So it might not be no room for a play-in tournament or something like that, with all other pieces coming back and other teams getting healthy. Might not be no room for the Lakers there. So don't be surprised if their season is just as the same as last year. But of course, you have to be optimistic. Don't be surprised if their season is better than it was than last year. But ultimately, I don't think they're going to win a championship with what they have, unless they make a huge, trade in the offseason, which is still alive to do so. But right now, like I said, I think they're a middle of the pack team at best. And of course, at worst, I think they don't even make the play-in tournament or the playoffs once again. But let's see what happens, and let's see how it pans out for them. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Just check out my other videos if you haven't. And hey, Khaliis out.